I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. I'm having a hard time hearing Santi. I'm not sure. We just double checked our sound. We're making sure that people can hear and see the broadcast because we're inconsistent as we're walking around a little bit. If we can just wait for and make sure we got some sound, I'm going to call. We're going to call into a couple homerooms just to double check because we're having a hard time whether Santi's hearing, whether you can hear me, whether it's us or whether it's a particular couple computers. We're just going to double check. Thank you for your patience as we explore our technical difficulties. We do want to make sure we can hear it especially because of our Holocaust remembrance today. Just give it 1 second. All right, figured it out. It was our computer that Santi was on. Our sound was not working. So we did have a couple of announcements. We have some basketball announcements, National Junior Honor Society, Ski Club today. Please, again, Ski Club, if we're listening for that announcement, 2:15 to 2:30. And then we will catch up with all of our other announcements, basketball included, and National Junior Honor Society at the end of the day. We'll just start a little early with announcements. So just make sure we're paying attention to those. And we will make sure we catch up. And if we can kick some of them till next week for Panther News, we can do that as well. It is Friday. First, just a reminder to grade 8, you are going to Core 1 right after Panther News today, Core 1, as we continue to kind of make up some of that time that we missed over the last few weeks for our visits. After At the end of our broadcast today, we will end, again, grade 6 and grade 7 will go to WIN. Grade 8 will go to Core 1. I did want to just share that over the course of this year, we really are making a concerted effort into recognizing certain campaigns, things that are important, as well as different groups and remembrance days. So tomorrow, January 27th, is National Holocaust Remembrance Day. Holocaust was an event, horrific event that occurred in the history of the world. And each year on January 27th, the world comes together and remembers what happened and uses as a learning experience. And there were a lot of people who were heroic and stood out in those efforts. And so today, in just a minute, I'm going to introduce Mr. Ullman. He's going to talk a little bit about what it is, why, and give you some information. I'll share some information on the screen, and then we're going to watch a short video about a minute long that actually captures one of the ceremonies and some highlights from what they did in Great Britain as well, as we know it's worldwide, before we wrap up and transition, as tomorrow is our Holocaust Remembrance Day. So with that, I will introduce our orchestra director, Mr. Glenn Ullman, to talk a little bit about Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Tomorrow marks Holocaust Remembrance Day. The Holocaust was a campaign by Nazi Germany to kill all European Jews, along with millions of others. The term for the mass murder of an entire ethnic group is called a genocide. When the Nazi Party and its leader, Adolf Hitler, rose to power in Germany, they put their deeply racist beliefs into law, giving so-called pure German people full citizenship, calling them the master race, and limiting the freedom of others. In particular, the Nazis were deeply anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism means hatred of Jewish people. Jews were a singular target of Nazi rage and persecution. As World War II progressed, the German government made plans to kill every Jew, which they referred to as the final solution to the Jewish question. Of the 9 million Jews who lived in Europe, 6 million were killed between 1941 and 1945, some shot and buried in mass graves, and others forced onto trains and taken to death camps, such as Auschwitz, equipped with gas chambers specifically built to kill entire communities at a time. However, tens of thousands survived, whether by escaping or by hiding in the homes of righteous non-Jews who were willing to do the right thing at great danger to themselves. In addition to the genocide of the Jews, the Nazis also persecuted many other groups that they viewed as undesirable or inferior. This included Slavic people, Black and mixed race people, Roma, LGBTQ people, and people with disabilities. Millions from these groups were also killed. What lessons can we take away from the Holocaust? One is that we are all susceptible to propaganda, and we must learn to recognize propaganda when we see it. Hitler and other Nazi propagandists took advantage of the worst human instincts, turning ordinary people into willing participants in mass murder, or bystanders who did nothing to stop it. Another lesson is to never, ever legitimize racism. When the Nazis made plans to destroy the Jews, they were inspired by racist policies they admired in other countries. In his autobiography, Mein Kampf, Hitler was especially admirable to the United States' policies of Jim Crow segregation and forced removal of Native Americans. Please keep these lessons in mind, and now we'll watch a brief video.
Currently, people's freedoms to be who they are without fear are at risk.
Our teacher said, when there's trouble, the Jews are the first to run away. And I was astonished. Suddenly, I wasn't Vera anymore. I'd become the Jews.
Prejudice continues against people simply based on their characteristics.
As Mr. Ullman said, we're going to watch a video. This is actually taken from one of the Holocaust Memorial Day ceremonies. Obviously, you see it on the top, the UK, United Kingdom, Britain. So these are real people who survived and are talking about their experiences. So when the woman in the beginning shared that, that's what she was experiencing and she was being told when she was going through it, and the teachers. So you're going to see a little bit of a reenactment from the Memorial Day from the United Kingdom. This is what all people across the world do and remember, and as we take the lessons that Mr. Ullman highlighted.
When the train arrived at Auschwitz, I'd come in front of a man, a German officer with the white gloves on, pointing left and right. He said, "Oh, I'd go to the right." 35 of them pointed to the left to go with the women and children, whom we never saw them again.
I was always terrified. There was a long queue of people that were going to be killed, and the queue was getting shorter. For the whole genocide, 100 days, most of the time I was by myself.
Freedom is fragile. Be a light in the darkness.
And so that was just a snippet. We've worked with our social studies has worked hard on this over the course of the last few years, especially certain grade levels have focused on it. Mr. Ullman just gave a couple key points as we highlight and remember what happened. There are many heroes that have come over time. There are many movies and that have really come out as well, highlighting some of these events. Schindler's List won many awards. That's a story of Oskar Schindler, who rose up, and he was actually a German. That's just one story. You saw just snippets of examples through this particular video, but there are many. Diary of Anne Frank is read all over the country and the world, and that's a true story of a girl who survived and how she did it, living in an attic and survived, and for a period of time. So there are many stories and highlights and heroes. I just want to acknowledge and appreciate Mr. Ullman's time today and his preparation and bringing this and surfacing this as we all remember, not just at West Rocks, not in Connecticut, not just United States, but all over the world, as our Holocaust Remembrance Day is January 27th. So Mr. Ullman, if you just want to wrap us up.
There's an expression that we use when we remember the dead in Hebrew. The expression is zichronam livracha, which means may their memory be a blessing. In this case, it means keeping the memory of this tragedy alive, although it was 79 years ago. When I was a child, there were many Holocaust survivors who could tell their stories. Now only a few remain. It will be up to us to keep the memory of this tragedy alive, not only for the sake of the Jewish people, but to prevent any group, Jewish or otherwise, from ever again becoming victims of genocide. As you go about this day, remember, the P in PAUSE stands for positive interactions. Treat everyone with respect, even if others around you espouse hate. The A in PAUSE stands for accountability. A nation that commits atrocities must be held accountable. We must not forget the past, and we must remember its lessons for the future. The W in PAUSE stands for willingness. Have the courage to do what is right for the most marginalized in our communities. The S in PAUSE stands for safety. Safety to learn, safety to live, safety to express your religious and ethnic identity freely. Thank you all for your attention and have a meaningful day.